What's going on, nation? We're working out today at Gold's Gym in Culver City, California, and today's workout is Go Deep. Glutes and quads build muscle and strength. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with the other workouts in this series, I'll post links to them all above right here. We got Backbuster, Beast Mode Biceps, Tricked Out Triceps, and Dawn of the Delts. So you're gonna be able to tear it up real good this week. Now, this workout is gonna consist of 5 exercises. The first exercise, we're gonna start off once again with a really heavy 5x5. So make sure you put all your energy into that lift. And then we're gonna go on to the rest of the exercises, which are gonna not only burn you out, but help you build that muscle. So let's take a quick look at the routine and get started. The first exercise you're going to perform is the barbell back squat. You're doing a 5x5. Now, I've already done my warm-up sets. Normally what I'll do before legs, especially if I'm going to squat, is I'll do a shoulder warm-up to make sure that my shoulders are nice and loose, because obviously you're putting your arms back pretty far to grab the barbell. And then I'll also do a set of air squats and then a set of like 15 reps with 135 pounds in the bar. Now, I just did 275 for 5 reps. I'm going to boost the weight right now. So my second set, I'm doing 285 pounds, sticking with 5 repetitions. Now, the goal, obviously, when you're doing a squat is you want to make sure you're keeping your chest up. I'm doing a high bar squat. My high bar squat still isn't as perfect as I want it to be. I still have a bit of a butt wink at the bottom of the movement, which, you know, for me, I guess my flexibility, I'm always going to have some sort of slight butt wink if I want to go ass to grass all the way down to the ground. But I'm working on it, and it's getting progressively better. My third set, I bumped the weight up to 295. Now, as I start to fatigue, I take a little bit longer of a pause in between each rep, and you'll start to notice that, especially on the last 2 sets. And what I'm doing is I'm just resetting my breath. I'm taking a few breaths in. And before each rep, I take in a breath, just enough. I don't take in a full breath. I take in just enough to be able to hold it and contract my core to keep everything as tight as possible. It's going to help prevent me from falling over or having my core bend over and then lose control of the bar. You'll have a lot more power the stronger your core is. And as you guys know, I don't like to use a weightlifting belt, so I'm not using one. So this is the 4th set right now. As you can see, I'm getting pretty fatigued. I'm taking a little bit longer breaks in between my reps, but that's okay. The goal is to get 5 repetitions. And for me, especially when I do squats, I like to just stand there and get it done. Even though I'm tired, I can still hold that barbell across my shoulders. And even though I'm putting weight on my legs are tired, I can generally gain a little bit of strength back, a little bit of energy back just by standing there. So this is the last set, 5 repetitions with 305 pounds. Now, the rest periods between your sets, I mean, you want to be taking probably up to 2 minutes when you're doing this first 5x5. You're going for strength and you're lifting heavy, you're doing 5 repetitions, so you might need a little bit longer rest. For the rest of the routine, I'm only going to take about a 60 to 90 second break in between my sets. As you guys can see, I'm getting towards the end, getting pretty fatigued, but you want to keep your focus. You want to, what I like to do when I squat is look in the mirror, keep my head up, and I pick a point on the wall and I stare at that. And generally that helps me focus on getting back up to seeing that point of where I started when I was doing the exercise. So we just finished our 5x5. Get some water, stretch out a little bit. Let's move on to the next exercise. The second exercise is going to be the Barbell Glute Bridge, and from now on you're doing 3 sets of 8 repetitions per exercise. I'm starting off with 275 pounds in the bar, and you can use a pad on this exercise if you'd like. I don't need one, especially for this weight. I only use a pad when I get really high up, like 500 or more pounds. But what you want to do is hold the bar with your arms a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, and then there's a sweet spot you can find on your upper thigh. You're not pushing the barbell into your testicles. A lot of people think that's what happens. You're actually pushing it into your thighs. And by pushing it into your thighs, it's actually going to help alleviate some of the pain that you might feel if the bar was loose. If the bar is loose and you're just slamming into it as you bring your hips into the air, it's going to hurt. But if you set yourself up, get your feet planted in the ground, plant your shoulders in the ground as well, and then push the bar into your upper thigh, you're really not going to feel that much pain. Or maybe you might only feel it when you get really heavy with the weight. So what I'm doing right here is 8 repetitions, and now this exercise is much more than just extending your hips into the air. What you want to do is flex your glutes as hard as possible as you get to the top. So now I'm on my 3rd set. I'm doing 365 pounds. And what I like to do sometimes as well is pause for a little bit at the top, especially on my last 1 to 2 repetitions. Really squeeze those glutes. Now you might be wondering, what is this exercise going to do for you? This is going to help work on your explosiveness through your hips, which is going to help with exercises like your squat and your deadlift. So don't skip out on this exercise. The next exercise is going to be the leg press. I'm starting off with 450 pounds. Once again, you're doing 3 sets of 8 repetitions. Now, I noticed when watching this video, I had a little bit of a butt wink going on. This leg press, for me, I seem to have a hard time with it. The angle it puts my body in, I can't seem to get comfortable with full range of motion. The leg press at my gym is set up a little different. The angle isn't as extreme from my upper body to where my hips are, and so I'm going as low as I can. And for the next set, what I actually do is I try to lean forward a little so I can drive my hips into the corner of the seat a little more to help alleviate some of that butt wink that I have going on. But for me, like I said, on the squats, it's something I have to work through. I think it's just hip flexibility, and in time it'll get better and better and better. You'll also notice on this exercise that I am doing the full range of motion. I'm putting my feet just outside of shoulder width, pushing through my heels, going all the way down and all the way up. Do not do partial reps on this exercise because you're not going to get the full benefit. Now on the last set, set 3, 630 pounds. Going to rep this out real quick. Now you guys might have also noticed on the first set that I actually did 12 repetitions. The weight was just a little too light for me. If the weight's too light, don't ruin your set by stopping at the number you had in your mind. So my goal was 8 reps. It was too light by the time I got to 8. So I pushed out an extra 4 and got 12 reps out of the exercise. Always push yourself and don't fall into a habit of limiting yourself by the number that you chose in order to perform the amount of sets and reps on every single exercise. The next exercise is going to be the seated leg extension. Once again, 3 sets of 8 reps. You're going to rest about 60 to 90 seconds between your sets. And I'm starting off with 230 pounds. Now, with the leg extension, I notice a lot of people, they don't fully extend at the top of the movement or go all the way down. When you bring that weight down, you want to make it so that the weight stack almost touches the bottom stack. So the stack you're lifting comes down, almost touches the rest of the stack below. And then that's when you bring the weight back up. Now this was actually funny. I'm on set 2, 270 pounds. I was kind of having a hard time holding myself in the seat. The handle that my left hand is on was actually starting to rip off. And it was making it very uncomfortable. As you can see right here, I'm starting to come up off the seat. It's because I can't pull myself down because that handle, see I'm looking at it, that handle is about to rip off. So in my last set, I raised the weight to 310. I had to reposition my hands a little bit so I could hold myself down. But you want to push it as hard as you can, fully extend at the top, squeeze your quads as hard as possible. And then what I did on this exercise, because I think I went a little too heavy, as you can see, I'm starting to use a little bit of momentum to bring that weight up. I'm lifting my butt's coming off the seat, and then I'm bringing it back down to push the weight. So what I did was a quick drop. And by dropping the weight down to 110, I was able to get 8 more repetitions and really focusing on squeezing my quads on the way up, getting that full range of motion, and letting my legs do the work and taking out the momentum. So it's okay to do stuff like that too. The goal is to do 3 sets of 8 repetitions on every exercise. But if you feel like you might have gone too heavy or you have more energy to expend, drop the weight and do more reps. Now the last exercise is the alternating single leg reverse lunge to step up. 3 sets of 8 reps per side. So now I'm only using 70 pounds on this exercise, so I'm using 35s on each side of the Smith machine. I put on 45s to start. This is actually an exercise that Erica does a lot. I never do this exercise, but since doing it this day, I've actually started to make it a staple in my leg workout, at least for now. I was so exhausted after finishing this exercise, it's not even funny. The pump that you're going to get throughout your quads and your glutes is ridiculous. The fatigue is just out of control. It doesn't look like much. I'm standing on what seems to be about a 24-inch box, and I'm not just stepping back and then stepping up. I'm actually doing a reverse lunge, so going all the way down to the ground, and I'm trying to make the leg that's on top of the box do all of the work. So even as I step back and my toes on the ground, as I come back up, I'm trying my hardest to not push through my back foot. Granted, if I get stuck, I'm going to give myself a little bit of help, but you want that leg on top of the box doing 99% of the work. Now, a few things you want to keep in mind when doing this exercise. Obviously, as you step back, you want to make sure you control the weight so that you don't slam your knee into the ground. You can injure yourself a lot by doing this exercise if you do that, so make sure you pay attention. You also want to make sure that as you step back for the lunge, that you're not letting your knee go past your toe. As you can see, I'm stepping back far enough so that my knee is always over my heel. And as you come up, you want to lift that leg up into the air. And it might not look like it, especially if you haven't done this exercise, but when you bring that back leg up and you lift it over your leg, your quad is already on fire from doing the lunge, that it actually makes that part of the movement that much harder. As you guys can see, I'm dying here. I hated every minute of this exercise, but I love the results, and that's what it's all about.
So much of a pump, man. Look.
I know, it's ridiculous.
So now we're on to the last set, set 3. This is the final set of the entire workout. So what you want to do on this set is you want to make sure that you burn out those legs as hard as possible. You don't want to have anything left in the tank. And if you do, you want to make sure you do more reps, just add a few more in there or raise the weight to make sure that when you leave the gym, your legs are fully worked. There's no point in leaving the gym after doing a workout and not feeling like you gave it everything you've got. So as you guys can see, I'm going to start actually getting real fatigued by the end of this set. Stepping back, doing the lunge, pushing up, pushing through your heel, quads are on fire, glutes are out of control at this point. Your glutes are going to be on fire. And just make sure when you do this exercise too, try your best to keep your chest up. Don't fall into flexion and have the bar kind of bring you down and crumble your core. So what you want to do is the same thing that you would do when doing a squat or a deadlift or any other exercise that's going to put a lot of pressure on your core. Take in a breath, squeeze your core as hard as you can, go down, and then when you come back up, that's when you're going to reset your breath. You guys are going to notice that every single time I get to the top of the movement, I take a few breaths, then I take one final breath in, squeeze everything as hard as I can, and then reset the breath again at the top of the movement.
That felt great. So guys, give that workout a try. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you haven't quite yet tried the other routines in this workout yet, I'll put links to them all across the top right here so you can stay on track with your goals. For more great tips, exercises, routines, recipes, meal plans, feel free to join us on scotthermanfitness.com. And as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.